Actually, our maid who came to our home was raped by the man of the house that she was working for before coming to us. And my mother noticed that she was pregnant, and this is something unheard of in the Middle East. Really, it's a big, she'll die. So my mother didn't want to send her back to her family. So she sent her to a government agency. A year later, the agent who brought her to our house, we asked him, how is she? And he told us, he told my mother, "Ta'yish inti ya sitti," it means in Arabic, may God prolong your life, madam. In Arabic, when somebody says that, it means the person died. And she said, how? And he told us her father and brother took care of her disgrace. She was raped. She was only 16. And I can never forget her face. I witnessed female genital mutilation. My mother's generation in Egypt, 98% of women had undergone this operation, and my mother was one of them. So it's, I witnessed polygamy. Polygamy has a devastating effect on family dynamics. It has a devastating effect on men-women relationship, and also on the upbringing of children, women-to-women relationships. Can you believe how hostile women would be with each other when your best friend could be an eligible bachelorette to your husband? And it has happened. So Sharia law allows all of this to happen legally. You know, you hear about all these stories about women being stoned, all of the horrific stories about violence. But even the simple things under Sharia, with, for example, segregation of the sexes, living in a society where gender segregation. I remember I had very little interaction with males when I was living in Egypt. Most of my interaction as a woman in the Muslim world was with other women. It's a very segregated society, and it contributes to a lot of friction between the sexes. You don't understand the other sex at all. So there is a lot of subtle problems created by Islamic Sharia law that's not just violence. Violence, of course, is the most horrendous, but there is a lot of other effects of family law. For example, men only have the right for divorce. Women cannot divorce their husbands. Half the inheritance of a man is given to the woman. So if it's a brother and a sister, the girl inherits 1/3 of what her brother inherits. Can you believe the oppression of women? So it doesn't have to be just the stoning, I mean, it's in every aspect of life, women are getting the short end of the stick. In a court of law, her testimony is half valid of a man. And in some cases, a woman's testimony is not allowed or permitted at all in a court of law. So if a man and a woman go against each other in court, even for the minutest, littlest case, guess who wins? So it's in every aspect of life. The oppression is in every aspect of life. She is respected only when she shields her body, her face, and even her identity. She is respected only if she abides by Sharia law. So, very simply, Sharia has codified into permanent law a 7th century Arabian Peninsula Bedouin culture. That's what happened for every Muslim on earth today in the 21st century. They have to be Arabized. They have to speak Arabic. And they have to live under the rules of law that has been put into code of 7th century Arabia. Do you know that the women before Islam dressed the same way as after Islam? Very simply, Muhammad just codified what women were wearing in his tribal desert culture for all Muslim women to wear in any part of the world. See, the Muslim outfit for women was not invented by Muhammad. It existed before him. His first wife, that's what she wore. So a lot of people think it's purely Islamic invention. No, because the desert culture itself, with all the sandstorm and the heat, you needed to shield yourself with a veil to cover when the sandstorm almost burn your eyes. And now we have to do that in anywhere. So Muslim men, right now, there's a lot of excuses. Oh, polygamy, what? We all have one wives. That's what they say. Most of us are having one wives. But you see, the damage has already happened in the Muslim marriage contract. Here's a copy. The Muslim marriage contract has 3 more spaces right here on the bottom, and it asks the man, would you please add the second wife's name and address, third wife's name and address, and fourth wife name and address, if any. This is the Muslim marriage contract. It also asks the girl if she's a virgin. Because if she's not, she's returned back to her father and brother to kill her. This Muslim marriage contract gives the man is not expected to be loyal to his wife. It's totally different from a Judeo-Christian culture. The marriage is a covenant between a man and a woman and God. But in Islam, it's a contract whereby he gives her a dowry. He doesn't give her any loyalty, vows for loyalty, and she's the only one who's expected loyalty, total loyalty, a slave, who cannot even leave her house without permission. The Muslim marriage contract is demeaning and humiliating to the wife. And this is what we don't talk about, the subtle things in Islam. It's not just all the violence. It's in everything. It's your life is fed discrimination and oppression, no dignity for women, even in their marriage contract. There is hardly a Muslim feminist movement to speak of today in the Middle East. Muslim women are caught between standing up for their rights or be called apostates. See, if you object to all the laws in Sharia that humiliate you, that call you, do you know that women are supposed to be inferior in mind and religion in Islam? So if you object to being called inferior, you're an apostate. So that's why women don't rise. Many Muslim women don't rise against Sharia because this is supposed to be Allah's law. It's not man-made law, it's Allah's law. And so that's why most of the Muslim feminists, like Nawal al-Saadawi and the Bahraini feminist, Ghada Jamshir, they all have fatwas on their head, and the women are not supporting them. Muslim women are calling them apostates. So this is the problem. You cannot have, because of Sharia law, a feminist movement. They are all standing against them. And they are leaving. Ghada Jamshir in Bahrain, she's been, the government of Bahrain is forbidding her from speaking or writing or contacting any media. So this is how they stack all the laws against you. There was a feminist movement in Egypt in the 1920s. Huda Sha'arawi, the famous Huda Sha'arawi, went to the Egyptian center in the railroad station, took off her burqa, and threw it and started a feminist movement. The British were in Egypt and protected her at that time. Up to the 1970s, that feminist movement lasted for 50 years. or 60 years. And then I thank God for it, because that's why my grandmother never wore a burqa. My mother never